Okay, hello everybody. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. We're going to get kicked off now. Today we're going to go through a brief presentation prior to a demonstration of Oracle's Planning and Budgeting Cloud Service Solution. Agenda is up on the screen. I hope you all can see it. But we're going to run through just a very brief intro to Predictive Solutions. We'll provide, again, a brief introduction to, or a brief overview of Hyperion Planning Budgeting Cloud Service. We'll talk briefly about the cloud solution that we're going to demonstrate, and then I'm going to hand over to one of my SMEs, Francis, for a demonstration. We're delighted to have Keith Stevenson with us today from Gateway Gathering and Marketing Company, who we've successfully implemented this particular solution for. He's going to talk a little bit about his experience with our implementation capabilities and the solution as well, and the value it's bringing to Gateway. So thank you very much for sparing us some time, Keith. And it's then going to come back to me to talk a little bit about the implementation. What does that look like? And we've put a ribbon around an offering to implement these solutions for our clients. And I'll talk a little bit about that before opening it up for Q&A. So without further ado, who is Predictive Solutions? We've been founded since 2007. We are an analytics company focusing on EPM, Enterprise Performance Management, BI, Business Intelligence, and Big Data Solutions. We're backed by $1 billion semiconductor and trading distribution organization headquartered out of Houston. We've got a proven track record of delivering successful projects with MIT leadership. We signed partnerships in 2008 with both Oracle and IBM, became premier partners for these guys, and completed our first end-to-end BI and EPM project during that year. In 2010, we formalized our three core practices, BI, EPM, and Big Data. And we've continued to work leveraging our partners to become one of 4 global strategic partners in the Oracle world. And we're certified implementation specialists. I think we're up to 42 now at the last count. In 2014, we obviously made investment in cloud technology. We recognized the way the marketplace was going. So we've made a significant investment in that particular area, and looking forward to showcasing the solution that we're going to demonstrate today. Talking a little bit about the products that we support and the solutions that we implement across our core practices. Obviously, we have the broad Oracle suite. So within the BI capabilities, that's the BI cloud services, some of the data integration tools, OBIEE, but you'll also see up there Cognos Analytics from the IBM, and also Tableau, ClickView, Spotfire, those sorts of solutions as well. Within the EPM and big data space, again, we have a broad offering for our clients. We can service the majority of solutions in the marketplace. A focus now for our organization as we continue to grow into 2017 is obviously big data and cloud computing as well. Okay, excuse me, I jumped ahead. So I'm going to talk briefly now about Planning and Budgeting Cloud Service as a solution. Fundamentally, the abbreviation for it is PBCS. Oracle have named it PBCS, stands for Planning and Budgeting Cloud Service. So really, it's a budgeting and planning system that's deployed directly into Oracle's cloud. It comes with a whole raft of pre-built templates. It has guided workflows that make it really easy to navigate through the processes, kind of like TurboTax. You guys should be familiar with that this time of year. Obviously, as we move into January, I'm sure you guys will be using those tools. But yeah, the whole idea behind that is to get people using the solution, to increase user adoption and reduce the time to value of your finance folks to be able to leverage, best practices and inbuilt features and functionality of PBCS. All within a very short space of time. Okay, some of the key features of this solution, obviously submission templates, business rules, some of the best practices that you would expect from the acquisition of Hyperion by Oracle a good few years ago have obviously been embedded into this particular solution to maintain easy to use and increase operational efficiency across the Office of Finance. Things like maintenance of entity structures, business unit consolidations. You've got the Excel interface that some of the common tools in the market have. Oracle's Excel interface is SmartView, so it provides read-write capabilities. We know finance folks like to use Excel, so we'll certainly be able to leverage those capabilities. Obviously, you've got abilities to forecast income statements, balance sheets, cash flows, everything you'd expect with a market-leading budgeting and planning solution. And obviously, a comprehensive security model. This we know is critical when we're dealing with financial data. In addition, the Oracle Cloud itself has stringent security measures to really protect the client data that it hosts. In terms of deployment options, the solution we're talking about today is obviously the Planning and Budgeting Cloud service. But I wanted to just draw your attention to why cloud for a moment. Obviously, those folks in the Office of Finance probably aware of Hyperion as a solution itself. And previously, obviously, that can be deployed on-premise. So what that allows you to do is that gives you full control over your environment. You know, you can abide by your own implemented security policies. It is a heavier IT involvement in terms of resources. It requires, you know, I won't say a dedicated resource, but certainly some of an FTE's time should be spent in the management, maintenance, and administration of that solution. It does carry a higher total cost of ownership because obviously you've got upgrades and patches, enhancements, etc. to roll out and those sorts of things. We're going to flip over to the cloud now and talk about, you know, some of the benefits of that. So clearly, there's no capex for IT infrastructure. You're not having to go and provision new hardware to install an application on and so on and so forth, because it's all hosted in Oracle's cloud. Okay, Oracle will also provide in their regular license price both pre-prod and production environments. They'll provide automatic patching and upgrading. You know, some of the concerns of my existing clients are around both the cost impact, but also the time and resource impact of upgrading, you know, applications, either planning or HFM, whatever it may be. You know, the concerns around cost and time and effort is obviously mitigated with a cloud-based deployment. It's a very fast rollout time. In fact, Keith may talk a little bit about that later, but certainly when we were working with Gateway organization, the provisioning time from, I think, moment of signed order to having the application provisioned in Oracle's data center, we were talking hours. So in terms of rolling it out, it's obviously a shorter time to value at that point and lower overall TCO, total cost of ownership. Right now I'm going to hand over to Francis. Francis, one of our SMEs, he's going to run through the Planning and Budgeting Cloud Services demonstration. It'll come back to me later, and at the end of that, we'll open it up for Q&A as well. Thank you.
All right, appreciate that introduction, Carl. So real quick, guys, in this PBCS overview, I'm going to walk you through a few of the key features and functionalities of PBCS. Now, for the purpose of this demonstration, I'm going to use the Vision application that comes out of the box with PBCS. So as we look up here, the new and simplified interface of PBCS gives us a look and feel similar to our cell phone or iPhone or Android tablets, but it's in a desktop version. Now with this web-based application, the business users can complete all their budgeting and planning activities in a single user interface. So first off, let's take a brief look at this homepage. Now on this page, we can see the shortcut tabs to access a few of the major PBCS functions. Now I'm going to briefly walk you through some of the key features of these shortcuts on this simplified interface. So let's begin with the Task tab. Now, like the name suggests, the Task tab is the hub for your checklist of activities that you want to perform, or maybe you want your users to perform within the PBCS to help organize and prioritize workloads, depending if you're a financial manager or maybe a financial analyst, or maybe if you're a senior director or VP of finance. And we'll get into the delegations and task assignments later. But this task section also helps users to track the status throughout the entire planning process. Next, let's look at the Dashboard tab. Now this tab is used to analyze data, or maybe to enhance the way you present the data, as well as maybe elaborate on key business data from simple forms and ad hoc grids, for example. It can also display real-time dynamic web page summaries by inserting URLs. Actually, as you're seeing on the screen here, one of the cool features I like is that it allows each user to create and manage their own unique and customized dashboards. You can pick whichever grids, whichever charts you want to use. It's a nice little flexibility there. Now, as we move down the row, let's click on the Data tab next. Now, business users and planners are going to use this tab to enter, update, analyze the data. Now, these data forms are actually spreadsheet-like, web-based grids connected to the back end of the database, as we can kind of see here. So next we got the report tab. Now, this tab allows users to see and run financial reports directly. Now, the user can also export them directly to different formats. As you can see on the right side of the screen, you got options to export the reports to PDF format, Microsoft Office document, or HTML format. So that makes it nice and convenient there. All right, moving along to the Rules tab. Now, this tab provides functionality to focus on calculation and dynamic slices of the database through runtime prompts. Now, these prompts are generally used when users are submitting data to the database through data forms or when the administrators are loading data to the actual database. Next, we got the Approvals tab. Now, PBCS includes an approvals process that can be used to control data submission, review, and finalizations. So this tab is generally used by senior level directors, VPs, for reviews and approvals. Now, by using this planning unit hierarchies and task lists contained in this tab, as we can see here, administrators can ensure users are abiding by the assigned budget process in a timely and organized fashion. Now, lastly, let's take a look at the Academy tab. Now, the Academy tab serves as a comprehensive library for both administrators and users to learn how to manage regular tasks quickly by providing extensive documentation and tutorials. They also have things like best practices for designing applications, or I believe it has some suggestions for administrative planning for Oracle PBCS. Now, Oracle has invested heavily in providing as many educational resources as possible, so you guys don't need a rocket scientist to navigate through this new software. PBCS was created to be as user-friendly as possible. So whether you've just hired a new financial analyst or maybe someone's been assigned to a new department with a whole new set of tasks assigned to them, they're not going to need excessive time-consuming tutorials and training. They'll be able to literally hit the ground running. All right, now I also want to show you guys the Navigator tab on the top left side in the screen. Now, in this Navigator section, you can refer to as home base. Users are going to see all the resources that are available in one easy-to-find screen. It's basically a quick guide to redirect you to some of the most frequently used functions that we just went over. So to access any of these, simply click on the respective section that you want to jump to, and you're there. So those are the key tabs and features in PBCS. Now, I want to briefly walk you through a few examples of how you would use PBCS throughout the planning process. So for this example, I'll be using the Task List tab to input, review, and submit my plan numbers for this particular planning process. Now, this task list can contain text, contain links, maybe planning data forms, rules, as well as your basic financial reports. And I'm also going to demonstrate a few other functionalities that differentiates the security access between the business planners and the corporate planners. So I know we have quite a few financial analysts on this call, so imagine I'm one of you, as say I'm the senior financial analyst for an international sales department. Now, as we look at this particular task list, we can see I have quite a few tasks on my plate that I have yet to complete. I've kind of been procrastinating a little bit, so I need to get to work. So one quick helpful tidbit that I want to show you is if you look on the right hand side, you'll see an instructions tab that gives detailed instructions pertaining to each individual task. So again, if you got a new employee or maybe a new analyst assigned to a new apartment, now you don't have to babysit them forever and go over each and every task assigned to them. Oracle makes it nice and easy right then and there. So guys, it's December 14th. I got to get to work. Got 95 tasks I got to do, so let's get to work. Let's click on the first task, which is the operating forecast task for my first example. Now, this is the home page of the task list. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to mark this task as complete, and then I'm going to click on next to move on to the next task on the list. Now, the good folks at Oracle designed this interface to have the look and feel as the TurboTax application. I know we've all used TurboTax before. I know we're all pretty familiar with this, and so this is kind of similar to that. Makes it very user-friendly, easy to use. Again, that's going to be a reoccurring theme throughout this whole process. Now, you can also click on these respective red buttons here at the top right, which allows you to navigate through the different tasks and workloads that you have. All right, so let's change things up a bit. Let's say that I'm a finance director, and let's say I have 4 other senior financial analysts working under me, and they all manage separate sales regions. So as a director, I can see all of their regions that I have assigned to them, but they can only see their respective regions. So again, that's when we talk about assignments and delegations, this allows very easy to use when it comes to the delegations. Now, if I were to select the Edit Members button from the toolbar here, you'll see a drop-down box that's going to pop up, and it's going to list all the respective sales regions. Again, if I'm one of those financial analysts I'm assigned to, let's say the international sales region, that would be the only region that I would be able to see as opposed to the other regions. Now notice this page consists of 2 parts. The top part is an input form where I can actually enter the data. The bottom part is the output form, which displays derived and calculated data. And notice that the changeable input cells are all in white, while the non-changeable output cells are in gray. Again, that's a common functionality of PBCS. Now let's say I want to make some changes to, let's say the company I work for, let's say we manufacture laptops and tablets. So let's say I want to make some changes to the number of tablet computers manufactured for, let's say the second quarter of 2015 for international sales. So I would click on the cell for Q2 for tablet computer, there we go. And I want to change the value from 500 units to say 600 units. All right, so I enter it there. Okay, so after you enter there, you're going to see that the change in cell color is from white to yellow, which states that there's been a change made, but that the data in the form needs to be saved. So to save this change, I'm going to go ahead and click on the Save button at the top right corner. And then you're going to see the updated data on the bottom output form, derived and calculated according as per the new input. So notice the color of the cell has changed from yellow back to white. And again, now that I'm done, I'm going to mark this task as complete, and I'm going to click on Next and move on to the next task. Now let's say, for example, I want to change a percentage for one of my revenue drivers and add a note on the cell and maybe add a supporting document for my boss to understand the reason behind the change so that he can approve it. So what I want to do is I want to modify the percentage for maintenance support drivers. So let's say from 11% to, let's say there's a 25% increase, so to 11.25. So I click on the cell, update the value. All right, and then I click on Save to submit the value. Now I would like to add a comment and upload a supporting document about this change to my reviewer. So to do this, I first select the cell. I then click on the Actions button on the top and select Comments. Now as you can see, we got a new dialog box that just popped up. I can now add my comments here, and I can click on Post. So let's say comment, I'm going to add maintenance cost have increased, my spelling's a little off. Maintenance costs have increased by, let's say, 25%. All right, now as you can see here, and I'm going to click on Post. All right, now also notice at the top right of this little box, you're going to see a gray comment icon and an attachment icon. Now I can attach the supporting document representing this change by clicking on the attachment icon and uploading the file. Let's go here, so find the supporting document that's going to support my change, and I'm uploading it there, and I can hit close once I'm done. So either my reviewer or myself will be able to see a small mark at the top right hand corner of the cell indicating that there's either been a note placed or that there's a document attached to that respective cell. So if my reviewer wants to view my comments or the document, all the reviewer has to do is select the respective cell. And then we can click on the Actions button at the top, select Comments, and now we're able to read the comments, or we can click on the attachment link to access the attachment. So the reviewer can also leave their response on the comments for the same cell to acknowledge the change. So for example, as the VP, I'm going to go ahead and write in approved. So I approve this change. All right, then I'm going to click on Post, and then I'm going to mark this task as complete. And then I'm going to click on Next, and I'm on to the next task. All right, so let's talk about grid spread. For my next example, I want to show you how to change my inputs at the quarter level for one of my expense drivers and spread the change evenly to the month using the functionality called grid spread. So to do this, to select the respective expense driver, I'm going to click on the Edit Members button, and then I'm going to select the driver. Let's say headcount. All right, there we go. All right, now click on Apply to refresh this expense driver form. Now let's say I want to modify the value from Q2 2015 from 4 to 6. So to do that, I'm going to select the respective cell, click on the Actions menu, then I'm going to click on Adjust, and then select Grid Spread. All right, so we got a new window that popped up. Now the current cell value is 4. We want the adjusted value by 2. And also keep in mind I can use both positive and negative numbers here. Also, I can either adjust this input in terms of an actual number or by percentage by clicking on the respective buttons. Now if I want to evenly split this input, I'm going to select the option Evenly Split, and then I'm going to hit Apply. So now these numbers are spread evenly to the months. Now I'm going to go ahead and hit Save to apply all of these changes. And again, because I'm in such a productive mood today, I'm going to go ahead and click on, I'm going to mark this task as complete and click on Next to move on to the next task. Now also keep in mind, guys, likewise, the user can complete their entire task list by clicking the Next button one by one. The final step is to review the final income statement and submit the plan to the reviewer. Now the last step of this task list, again, we're going to publish the income statement to an actual report. So to do this, I'm going to go ahead and click on the Next button. And my quarterly income statement is going to generate here in just a moment. All right, bear with me here. All right, so here we go. So when we look at this income statement report, we're first going to notice a drop-down box that allows you to select which department in the organization that you'd like to view. Again, we have the PBCS security functionality where the user can only access their respective data assigned to them. Now I can now print or export the statement using the financial reporting module, which is integrated as part of this task list. The user can also print the reports to a physical printer. Again, we can export it to PDF, Microsoft Office, HTML, all those formats as we discussed earlier. Now also, please make note, guys, that the financial reports has to be created explicitly in the reporting module, and then it can be integrated to the task list. So now all I have to do is close this financial report, mark this task as complete, and click on Closed in this task list. Now once this operating forecast task list is complete, the user or the admin can click on the Refresh button to track the progress of their tasks. All right, so as you can see here, I came in with knocked out about 8, only got 87 more to go, so we're actually getting some work done today. All right, so let's go back to home base. Let's go back to the navigator page, and we're going to explore a few more functionalities. All right, now these functionalities are controlled by the PBCS power user or an admin. Now the power user is responsible to manage the PBCS objects like dimensions, data forms, rules, task lists, etc. I've just named a few there. Now I want to take a look at a few of the most commonly used tools on this navigator page. So let's start with the Dimensions tab. Now to manage and access the dimension, we're going to click on the navigator button and then select dimensions, which I already did here. All right, now dimensions are the basic foundation of the planning application, and it's composed of members and the placeholders of the stored members in the outline. Now application dimensions together are referred to as an outline, and it defines the structure of the actual planning application. Now the account dimension lists all the measures and drivers created for this application, as you can see right here. Now the entity dimension here, it's going to list all the departments across the entire globe. All right, so as you can see here, all these, because I'm in the international sales department, so now I can list all of my departments. Now I got. All right, now the scenario dimension here, it's going to list the scenario members like actual, forecast, budget, as well as the variance members. So let's say for the sake of this example, I want to create a new scenario member to compare my actuals versus the revised plan member. So to add a new scenario member, I'm going to click on the Add Child button, which is the little button with the plus sign. My new window is going to pop up here, and now we're going to enter the member name. Let's call this Act versus Revised Plan. All right. And I'm going to go ahead and click on Save. Now, in order to publish this change to the FP&A team, the power user or your admin has to run a job called Refresh Database. Now, any changes to the dimension or its members need to be saved to that database. Now, Refresh Database helps you publish the changes to the dimension or to its members in the user community or for the FP&A team to be used in the planning objects like web forms, rules, tasks, etc. So to do this, I want to go back to my navigator button, and I'm going to select Overview. All right. Now I'm going to click on Actions, and I'm going to select Refresh Database. Now I'm going to click on Create, and then we're going to click on Refresh Database again. There we go. All right, so there's the confirmation page that's going to pop up. Let's click on Refresh. Now we're going to click on Close once we're finished. What's really cool is I can also make this job run in the background, so I don't have to wait for it to finish. I can get to work on the other tasks. So that's a nice little feature there. All right, now let's take a look at the planning objects. So I'm going to go right back to my Navigator homepage. Now keep in mind, guys, when I say planning objects, I'm basically referring to things like your planning data forms, your business rules, smart lists, substitution variables, and other objects located within this Navigator page. So let's look at the data forms first. These forms are designed to display a slice of the available data filtered by the member options available in the point of view. So to create a data form, I'm going to go ahead and select Forms off the Navigator page, which, as you can see here, new windows just popped up, and we can see a few tabs at the top. I'm going to go ahead and name this form. Let's see here. All right, I'm going to go ahead and name this form Sample for the sake of this analogy. And then I can move on to the Layout tab where I can actually design a template. Now, if we click on the Business Rules tab, this is where I can associate specific business rules to that particular form. So let's say I want to access or open an individual data form. Now, to do this, I would click on the Navigator button. All right, and then I'm going to click. I'm going to select on Data. All right, so you're going to see a few form folders on the left side, and each folder can expand to be used to organize and categorize the data form. So let's say I want to expand the plan folder and access on the forms called, let's see here. Let's say I want to click on the revenue assumption by channel. I simply click on it. Now again, I can select the Edit Member button to their respective sales region, and then I can click on Apply to refresh a particular data slice, thus providing the user to input, update, and again analyze the data. Now I want to show you briefly the Smart List function on this form. Now Smart List is another cool feature available with PBCS. It allows the administrator to create a custom list of text that can be used in data forms. Now the user is not able to input on these editable cells. Instead, you can only pick the desired value from the drop-down Smart List, as you can see here. We got different product channel lists up there. I'm going to go ahead and select Distributor from this list, which updates the value from that respective source, as you can see here. All right, now all we have to do now, just click on the Save Changes, and then we'll go ahead and close this form. All right, so we're going to go back to the Navigator page, and I want to take a look at the Business Rules tab. Now, Business Rules can also be referred to as the Calculation Manager. Right there, click on that. Now, the Calculation Manager that's integrated within PBCS, which is going to provide functionality to focus on dynamic slice calculations of the database through runtime prompts. Now, they're generally used when users are submitting data to the database through data forms or when the admins are loading data to the database. The power user or the admin can create and manage the business rules from the calculation manager integrated within PBCS. So to access this business rule module, I'm going to go ahead and click on rules. And then a separate window is going to open, which as you see here, expands the planning application. Now when we expand the vision application, the Plan 1 database, and finally the rules section, it's all going to display here. And it displays all the rules associated with this particular application. Next to last, we're going to look at the substitution variables, which basically allows us to eliminate all the hard coding and Hyperion objects. Now the substitution variables provide flexibility in the planning objects, allowing the system to store commonly used values and variables that can be referenced throughout the planning objects. So for example, let's say if we're in the current year of 2016, you wouldn't have to go in and manually change the year in each of the planning objects. PBCS does this for you by leveraging this substitution variable. In this instance, it's going to be current year. So to access this substitution variable, on the navigator page, we're going to click on variables. And for example, variables like current year, next year, prior year, they can be used in the web data forms to get dynamically refreshed over the period without having to manually change the form layout with business rule logic. So it makes my life a lot easier. Lastly, guys, we're going to take a look at SmartView. I'll go ahead and close this out here. Now Oracle knows that everyone loves Excel, so they created an Excel plugin called SmartView to integrate the PBCS functionality straight into Excel. Again, SmartView is a very powerful tool, allows you to do everything that you can do today in Excel, but it also has additional features that I like the ability to work with the web data forms, the ability to create your own ad hoc grids for your own data analysis. What I like about it is the ability to run business rules directly from Excel. But you can also run administrative tasks in SmartView as well for you administrators out there. So to quickly demonstrate, on the navigator page, we're going to click on data. And then we're going to open that same form that we opened earlier, which is, I believe, the revenue assumptions by channel form. There it is. Click on the actions button. And then option of open in SmartView, which I believe is at the very bottom. There it is. All right, so the data form is going to open up in SmartView. Back to old Excel. Now I can now perform the same operations here. Uh-oh. And my Excel just crashed. See, that's the whole deal with PBCS. You have issues with Excel crashing. We don't want to have that. All right, let me get back in. Come on, Excel. All right. Well, anyways, for the purpose of this, what I was going to say is in the SmartView now, just imagine this Excel is open. I can now perform the same operations like inputting my numbers, or I can select members from the smart list as I showed before. Also, once I've inputted my data, I can click on the Submit Data button to save any changes. So I'm going to try to open this one more time, and it gives me the kibosh again. Just like that. Okay. Okay, so also guys, if you keep in mind, and this is a feature that we'll look at later on, but using SmartView, the user can also create their own ad hoc grids, as I would love to show you, but apparently we can't. But it can save the ad hoc grids to the actual database. All right, okay, well, here we go. Third time is a charm. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and click on panel. All right. Now, if you need to run a business rule from SmartView, all you would do here, let's see here, give me one moment here. I'm a little slow today. Okay, there we go. Okay, so we got all the information on the right side. Okay, so we've selected the revenue options by channel. Clicked on the actions button, and we're going to select open in SmartView, which we're at. So as you can see here, we have all the data on the right side in SmartView. I can now perform the operations that I mentioned before, like inputting the numbers, or I can select members from the smart list as I showed before. And then once I have inputted my data, I can click on the Submit Data button to save the changes. Now, if you need to run a business rule from SmartView, all you would do is simply click on the Calculate button here, and then select Business Rules, and a new window is going to pop up. Now, this is where you can launch the actual business rule. So using SmartView, the user can also create their own ad hoc grids, as mentioned before. You can save those grids to the database. So to show you this, I'm going to go ahead and select the SmartView tab. All right, then I'm going to click on Panel. And then you can see on the right side, you can see my Vision applications on the right. I just got to click on the Plan 1 database to establish the connection. Then I click on the Ad Hoc Analysis, which will bring up the Ad Hoc Grid. And so once I've designed my Ad Hoc Grid, I can save this by clicking on the Save Ad Hoc Grid button. And then I'm good to go. All right, so to conclude, PBCS subscriptions include a data loading utility called Data Management, or FDMEE. The data management tool can be used to extract the actuals data from different ERP sources, whether using eBusiness Suite, PeopleSoft, JD Edwards, SAP, and it can all load to the same PBCS application. So guys, that's a quick demonstration showcasing some of the key features and functionality that comes with your PBCS subscription. I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Keith Stevenson from Gateway.
Thank you, Francis. So prior to Predictive coming in and implementing the project, we had a number of challenges. We were doing our budgeting and planning on Excel. Our Excel workbooks had broken links. Nobody knew how they were all coming together. Security was non-existent. Anyone could access anything. We actually had one of our key resources leave the organization who created the original Excel workbooks, and that left us in a world of hurt. On top of all this, one of our most profitable business units didn't even have budgeting and planning tools in place. PBCS gave us a single version of the truth for our financial budgeting and reporting. We now have an enterprise level solution that allows us to automate many of our manual steps. We've got our security in place, and now actually we have governance to manage the access of our data. We chose to deploy our solution in the cloud. This has been extremely beneficial for us. We've eliminated administrative and infrastructure work, and I can't tell you how much our team enjoyed working with the Predictive team. Additionally, we did training, and that turned out to be a very high benefit for us. We couldn't have asked for a better partner. Our project was delivered on time, on budget, and our business users are extremely happy with our solution. Our monthly forecasting cycle has been reduced from 3 weeks to a few days. Prior to completion of our project, we chose to execute a support agreement with Predictive that's really helped our team in delivering much needed enhancements after our go live.
Okay, thanks Keith. Thanks for agreeing to talk on our behalf today. Appreciate the insight. Yeah, these guys have been a pleasure to work with. I'll echo a little bit more of what Keith said. These guys have been a pleasure to work with. You know, we know a lot of our prospects, a lot of our clients. When we walk into an organization, that's experiencing some problems. So yeah, to be able to help out these guys and deliver the solution on time, on budget, it's a great feather in a cap, and we're delighted to count Keith and his team as our client. I'm going to talk now a little bit about the offering. There's obviously three sort of components to this. So there's the software licensing piece, obviously, it's provided by Oracle, obviously. Big Red. The pricing for PBCS is $120 per user per month. That is a minimum of 10 user commitment. So you're looking at $1,200 a month for a minimum of 10 users. There's a minimum 1 year term as well. Although I'm sure, you know, if some of you all wish to engage and talk to Oracle, You may have more users than that. You may wish to execute a slightly longer term agreement. I'm sure there may even be some flexibility on pricing. Obviously, I think I mentioned this earlier, every sort of PBCS subscription comes with both production environment and also pre-prod. From an implementation perspective, I'm really delighted to share with you that we've got a 3 months to complete fixed bid proposal that we can offer our clients. The reason we can do this is we've done quite a few of these now. We've refined and rehomed our delivery methodologies. We leverage our pre-built models and forms and extensive set of intellectual property really to accelerate time to value. We also within Predictive are very proud of our project delivery methodologies. We are continually refining and rehoning our delivery capabilities to optimize the service that we deliver to our clients. So what do you get in that 3 months? You get 2 senior resources, you get a senior Hyperion architect and a senior developer. Okay, these guys bring to bear obviously skill sets in the relevant technology, but also stuff from the back end as well. The final piece of our PBCS offering would be an ongoing support. You know, I think Keith mentioned that earlier. We call it solution assurance. Really what that does is that provides an additional level of support, both from an application side, administration, training, and with a designated support provider. We work with our clients to establish the service level agreements that are amenable to you guys, and go from there. So what's involved in our 3 months fixed bid implementation? Okay, so there's obviously some of this should be standard sort of project delivery stuff to some of you guys. So initial piece, obviously, requirements gathering, infrastructure setup, that obviously piece is taken care of by Oracle's provisioning in their cloud. As I say, it's a very short time to execute that. We then obviously move into solution design. Once we've captured and signed off on requirements, we then start executing our development. Okay, now what's critical to see there is we've got training starting usually just before UAT. And what this does is this obviously ensures that the business users have a degree of proficiency when they enter into user acceptance training. Our goal really is to make our clients as self-sufficient as we can. We don't want you guys calling us saying, hey, I need help writing a report, or hey, how do I make a change to a field? We can execute that obviously through our solution assurance, but the idea is to really enable our clients to become self-sufficient and less reliant on either us or Oracle, providing you guys with an ability to maintain, manage and support things as you move forwards. And then obviously we have the final step of deployment preparation and then go live. Okay, I think actually that completes our demonstration today. What I would like to do is open it up now for questions and answer questions, Q&A. If you have any, please by all means use the if you want to use the chat facility within WebEx, or by all means you can unmute your phones and ask a question, and we'll do our best to respond. I'll give it a moment just to see if there are any questions. Okay, it doesn't appear to be any questions. What I will do, we will obviously, oh, sorry, was that one, sorry? No?
This
Okay.
is Lisa.
Yes,
And I have a question.
of course.
How did Gateway, right?
Yes, that's right.
What products did they look at, if they're willing to say if they looked at other products, and why did they pick Hyperion over anything else, or PBCS?
Okay, I believe they looked at, they did look at TM1 as well as PBCS. I think the decision was made. There was obviously, I think there was previous, I'll let Keith answer that one, but I believe it was previous experience with a tool set which would help shorten time to value. Keith, is that accurate?
That's correct, yes.
Wonderful.
Okay, and what ERP are they using? Are they using Oracle as well for financial accounting?
No, they're using Inertia. It's quite specific to an oil and gas industry.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
No problem at all. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank you all for participating in today's webinar. We certainly hope you found the session useful. We appreciate your attendance. Our business development team will be reaching out to you directly If you don't feel like this is the forum to ask questions, by all means, we understand that as well. Our biz dev folks will be reaching out. You can certainly bounce any questions you have off them, and we certainly look forward to partnering and taking next steps together. Thank you very much, and have a great Christmas.
Thank you.
Thank you.